Hey guys, this is Matt, and this is my first post or update on the new Facebook page that I made for Follow Fox here. And if you remember, the last video I posted was this piece of wood that was surrounding this hatchway, which had the wheel on top, and it was completely rotted out there. So didn't even have to take a hammer to it. I just ripped it off with my hands, and there was a pile of junk just everywhere from it. So pretty much today, all I've been doing is cleaning up with the vacuum, the shop vac here, cleaning up the deck as well as down here, and sort of just clearing it up, moving all the pieces out of the way. So one thing I want to mention is once I got rid of this piece of wood and the wheel, which I'm still going to put that wheel back on. It's just way too nice not to have. But its positioning and lack of access to this space made me really uneasy last season. Just from a safety standpoint, there's a lot of stuff here that you want access to. That shutoff for the fuel right there alone is really difficult to get to. Not that there wasn't access, but the wheel had these running through it, which are the lines, steering lines aft to the rudder, and it would unclip, but you would only have like maybe 2 feet, maybe a workspace, maybe a foot and a half to get to that shut off and to the batteries and everything else. So open concept, open layout. This is way more preferable for me to do. Now I'm gonna run by what I sort of want to do here. Let me just back up a little bit. So if you notice, there's one particular thing about that fuel tank and its location that I think that we can improve or at least adjust in some way. Even though this opened up a lot of space, this fuel tank is sort of in an awkward position. It's taking up a lot of room that it doesn't need to. And if you look over here, it's extended, or it's built up and glassed in above the rudder post to give it space there. And like I said, peace of mind and having access to everything is like my big goal with this whole project and upgrading this boat. So this I would love to move, possibly forward and past these where these batteries used to be, and as close as to the engine as possible, most likely. Now I have to look into how safe it is to put it there, as well as the other option, which is under here, is that bilge area that's just complete, that goes down to the bottom of the keel, and that would be a really good spot, I think, to move this guy down there. Now the reason why this is such a big project, or one of the first things that I want to take care of on this boat, is, I'll move back here a little bit, going back to that wheel that came with this boat. If you notice, there's where the mizzen goes. This hatch will have a normal hatch on it, but then where do I put the wheel? And where you see the fuel right there is where basically the pedestal would go. Just forward of the rudder, or I apologize, just forward of, I know the answer to this, but I'm having a brain fart. Tiller. Forward of the tiller, so that the tiller has enough room if something would happen. Redundancy. But it would be up here on a level, slightly above where you sit, so you'll have more access to it. also in rough weather, you can jam yourself in between the pedestal and the mizzen mast and just like ride it out there. So that's my big plan, is to basically move the fuel tank, move it down somewhere towards the keel, preferably if I can do it. Also, possibly get a smaller tank. Judging by last season and how much I needed to fill her up, and I believe the size of it is a 12-gallon. It's just too much for this boat. So we're going to take that out and see if we can get away with like maybe something smaller, maybe like 9 gallons, or heck, I just need enough to get in and out of places and maybe motor for 60 miles or something like that. So nothing too crazy. I'm going to have jerry cans instead, and I can take those on and off board if I need to, if it's just a weekend trip or whatever. Anyway, so that's going to be the project. I'm going to try to stencil this all out and see if I can get away with putting that wheel there, having a nice hatch here, and then down here where you see this, that's where all the motor like starts and temp gauges and everything will most likely go, is right into that area, just because I don't want to poke more holes in the boat. So yeah, that's my update, and maybe if I can get to it this weekend, I can go into this. Don't mind the shiny tape, it was all I had. But this right here, if you notice, is a hole that I cut in, and it's cut into the deck, and we're testing out for wet spots. Also, this was sort of like a core sample where I went almost all the way through just to see how thick everything was, so that I could order all the parts for redoing the deck. So yeah, let me know what you think. Any ideas on what I run into, or if there's any questions about it. I can definitely answer some of those, most likely. Also, just brainstorm off each other. This project is probably going to be the biggest thing this year. Honestly, the deck, it's going to be a lot of work, but that's straightforward. There's not a lot of thinking dealing with that. It's fiberglass work. That is more engineering, where we got to move things around and make sure that, like, you know, batteries and everything else, once we move all the interior components, we have the right space and layout for everything. All right, hopefully that wasn't too long for you guys. Tell me what you think about the updates. You want something shorter, like 30 seconds, or like maybe something longer, like 10-15. Have a great day, guys. Peace out. Bye.